Meta, antimatter, CERN, and emotions. CERN Insider answers the question, how can antimatter be weaponized? In an interview given to publicly, speaking with a mic from around the world, CERN Insider, the link is down below of the source on the description box. So CERN is interested in the glue that is holding the structure together. What this CERN Insider explains is that you have a house, and the house, instead of having screws that are holding it together and cement, it has this glue, and they want to go to the liquid state of this glue before it is solid, okay? To use this glue, it is to break it down into its basic particles. One needs the glue at the primary state, initial state, in the liquid state, not when it's hardened. CERN is a device that allows them to examine particles in their initial state, not after, when everything is bonded together. Trying to find the glue that holds everything together. What comes out of CERN is antimatter, that was firstly produced in 1955. And when they found positrons, it's the anti-electrons. Matter and antimatter are in fact opposites. If you take a piece of wood, but if you put it on fire, you cause a reaction, and that its dangerous potential state. It is active. If you have a battery outside on your outside of your mobile phone, it doesn't do anything. But inside the mobile, the electrons begin to flow from one place to another. So that's what electronics are the control of electrons. So electronics, they control the electrons. They control the direction and the speed of electrons, which every tiny pulse, what flows or doesn't flow. Those are called gates. Those gates form computers. Nikola Tesla discovered some things with electrons and protons that are very fascinating. Electricity is a visual observation of electrons and protons in the active state, non-control state. Antimatter is the opposite of matter. We can control matter, okay? Antimatter cannot be controlled. In fact, when antimatter was firstly produced, they needed a facility to contain it, because unlike the wood, where you have to have a reaction to cause it to burn, antimatter, you need a containment to cause it not to burn. It is a nuclear bomb, takes timing, takes electronics, and the explosions have to be just right to have the reaction. It takes pounds of nuclear material to cause it to react. It has to be very precise. Antimatter, if we have 1 gram of antimatter, that would be about 45 kilotons of TNT, which it's 4 Hiroshima bombs. It is inherently unstable. The only way to harvest antimatter is to contain it. It takes a very large, expensive facilities to contain just 1 gram of antimatter. If those containers fail, they cause mega earthquakes. It must be isolated from the rest of reality when it's contained in a literal sense. Given that this can be weaponized, there are other implications that the average person does not thought about. Okay, our bodies is held together by their glue. They are searching for what bonds the matter together. In the standard model is an explanation how things are together. Okay, they are dealing with matter and force. Okay, they have categorized elements of matter. Everything we can touch, feel, observe, that's called quarks. Building blocks, protons and nucleons, electrons. Force are the lumps of energy that transmits forces that bring matter to life. A photon carries the electromagnetic force. Without the photon, we could not produce motors or anything else. Without gluons, carry a strong force, neutrons and protons would not be held together. In other words, the universe would not exist. W and Z particles, which are the weak forces that govern radio wave activity. So you have the standard model, and they have broken this down. They are looking for the higher explanation of how everything works. This is the particle they are searching for. They found half of it. They already found a component of it that was the Higgs field in an explanation. They found the traces of the Higgs field. They can now observe Higgs field, which is what found whatever matter is not. In your room, the Higgs field is an operation. With the Higgs field, they can begin to alter reality as we know it. Many people may not capture that the right way, but you have to remember, our world is made of matter. The antimatter is what we can't see, touch, feel, even though we interacted with it every day. Antimatter may also be considered other dimensions, which is the opposite of this dimension. It is an inconceivable place that is hostile inherently and it's not under control. This dimension is more attained dimension. Here what they have done until the 1930s, since the 1800s, there is a group that studied the phenomenon of paranormal activity, the science behind paranormal activity, and have been defined, call it a dimension slit, where things can obviously interact with this world all the time. They were considering the interactions between how matter and that type of matter, but they also find antimatter. How can antimatter be observed by any realm paranormal activity? It is in effect neutralized and observed, so there is a physical effect to the spiritual world, and antimatter and often antimatter and often demonic entities, all these other paranormal things that are attracted to antimatter. For every gram of antimatter that is produced and it's brought into this world, when they produced it, it attracts things from the other dimensions coming here. What CERN is doing, what CERN is going to do, if you allow humanity to produce pounds of antimatter, the consequences of this surge to gather more and more of this matter. Okay. By the way, they have a more efficient way of pulling out or gathering antimatter, which is the way they need to know the properties of this particle they have described. Once they have these properties, they will be able to extract as much antimatter as they desire effectively. Right now, it is very inefficient. To get a pound of it, it will take 10,000 years. They have observed the energy of matter and antimatter. They found out that antimatter is intimately tied to every single life form on this planet. They found out that energy signature is the same energy signature in all life on this planet. When any life force is in the presence of antimatter, the energy of the life form changes, which means a person has both dark and light already in them. You can live in a material world without antimatter. You can't live in a material world without antimatter. Nothing would exist. A person has good energy with this realm of matter, but they also have energy of antimatter. So they are connected. A person is connected to both realms at the same time, from the energy level without knowing it. They have found out why paranormal activity exists. They know exactly what it is. It is a secret. That's why in Hollywood, it's not what you see in movies in Hollywood, okay? Every single person, life form connected to that other realm, into this realm of reality, all the time now, a person's thoughts, feelings will determine which energy they draw from. You can draw from this realm, good realm, and they have a positive results. And that is called faith. That's why doctors believe in that. That is why doctors give placebos. They know if a person believes something, it is helping them. They have it. It is within themselves to repair. They command their bodies to repair simply by their own belief. And people thinking work together have recovered from cancer, black injuries, quadriplegics, simply by their own faith. This other realm, because of what energy is contained, is another dimension, so to speak. That's the containment wall of when a person draws that energy. It is the opposite of this realm. In this realm, again, we have the light, a piece of wood with flame to catch it on fire. And that realm is already on fire. You have to contain it, to see the world, because it is engulfed in flames. It is the opposite of this realm. When a person changes their emotional state, they begin to draw the energy from this other dimension, this chaotic and violent and uncontainable place, where they draw dark matter from, and from intimately linked. It's an operation of all the time. It's in operation all the time. The scientists, they are aware of this. Now the other part that is so confronting, that it's not so comforting, on the spring of equinoxes forces change on the earth, which will allow them to, in fact, to have better results. And believe me, it's perfectly timed. With this introduction of what CERN is doing and what it is to create dark matter, it is in matter itself. Now we go into the heart of the matter, of what actually the consequences are. There are already consequences before, and no one took notice. And the energy signature of dark matter, which resides everywhere, once you bring it into this realm, where we can already see it, observe it, it attracts things from the other realm. Dark matter, it's tied to dark matter. Everything has its connections that can never be broken by anything. If they bring dark matter into this realm, it's still connected to that realm where the dark matter came from, no matter how far away you put it, anywhere, it's still connected, everywhere. Because it's connected effectively, it increases paranormal activity around where it's contained. That is why they shift facilities. They had to move. It is an underground facility because people started having vivid dreams, nightmares, violence began to erupt. Because it's a chaotic piece of matter. It is very difficult to contain something that is so powerful. An explosion is an absence of order. That's chaos, okay? And I want to add that chaos is different from anarchy. Anarchy is when everybody has ascended and everything flows according to the rules of love. So that's anarchy. The worst part is that understanding that dark matter is always connected to its source, which is that realm where dark matter comes from. The realm that is all around us. Just imagine that dark matter being in the ocean. This realm is the submarine. We all are in the submarine, having fun. We are having disagreements here and there, and then we find out there is a hole in the submarine. But the hole is not in the submarine, it is within the people. The water inside of the bodies begins to increase based on their emotions. Dark matter coming into this realm comes through the people. That is what they discovered in 1950. That people can also produce dark matter. Tiny but measurable. It's quantifiable. They now know how much energy a person has to have in order to become absolutely absurd. They also know a person of that energy signature. A person must have before of an entity from that realm that possesses them, which also allows them to understand not everybody can be possessed. My question is, which type of people are not possessed and which ones are? Okay. They have to be prepared to be possessed, to be a portal themselves. To be possessed, not everybody can be possessed. This dark matter is absolutely everywhere. Scientists over the course of many years have quantified and have calculated things that have extracted the truth. And this is it. From where I have this, it's not the original interview, okay? I will try to find more explanations like this in order to link to other hypotheses, because what I believe is that, and I will try to find the answer if the antimatter, it is the Antichrist, okay? Because if we connect the dots, it is basically the hell on earth, and the answer is within us, okay? So that's the reason why we need to control our thoughts, feelings, actions, and emotions. And the only thing we can do is to understand the rules of the game, okay? And the consequences. Thank you very much for listening to me. Comment, like, subscribe. For donations and consultations, the email down below. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.